One, two, hello. Hello. Right, hopefully that's it. I can see good, is that it? Right, nice one. I don't know what happened there. I was just saying that I made a couple of little videos earlier of, I had the apparatus with a bottle of the water and a pipe in it, and I was blowing bubbles while jumping on the trampoline. You know, there would be a good video. The lunatic neighbour bouncing on the kids' trampoline. Anyhow, good, the sound's all back. Al Green, Brian Leak, Tony Perez, JCW, Nosty Fripples, Pied Piper, Joey P, official site of Stephen Hanna, Graham Whiting, hello, Bimmy, hello. I just heard the ice cream man, yeah. Rickus, hello there, how are we? I'm pretty sure the majority of people are away watching millionaires chasing a bag of air about. Let's see here. If you want to join me, people need to send me an email to the email above. So what's been happening? What have I missed? I see that the Flat Earth Brigade are still running around misrepresenting and championing stationary Earths, and you know, this is something that I spoke out against. You know, me and Marty, we spoke very early on in the videos about people, you know, joining camps and adopting models of Earths, and you know, leaving one cult and jumping straight into another cult. And it seems to be the very same. I mean, I'm watching people who I thought were quite intelligent struggle with this. I'm continually seeing people talking about examples of lateral motion and how things behave in a lateral sense. You know, again, what these people, and a few of these people I have had email conversations with and highlighted this to them, but yet they still carry on with this absurd, you know, lateral motion. You're in an established frame of reference where you have a vector that's already there. So there is a bias already there. Lateral motion is a whole other subject. That's how things behave perpendicular to that vector that we have already established. That's not the question. Rather than giving examples of, you know, lateral motion, invert it 90 degrees. You know, I'll get on to talking about this stuff, but it's really a problem. There's so many zealots. You know, I thought globe earthers were quite zealotry in their behaviour, but these, you know, flat earth groups now are expressing even more of a zealot-like mentality. I've been here for a long time. I've always been, you know, remained on the practical path. I've offered a lot on this, you know, whole topic. Many of these people still regurgitate and repeat things that they learned here. But yet all of a sudden, because I'm saying something or highlighting some aspect of reality that they don't like, because of their own little bias, they want to try and get rid of it. Well, hand wave dismissing me, that's not going to work, and I'm not going to go away. Reality's not going to go away. The sooner you accept that, the better. So all this, you know, mental gymnastics of word salad and you know, lateral motion and how things behave in a lateral motion, that's absolutely retarded. We're talking about a vector that's up and down. If I put you into a vehicle right now and accelerated it to 1,000 miles an hour and kept it going at a steady 1,000 miles an hour up the way, the floor would continually press against you. It would always be your floor. And when you let objects go, everything would have the same appearance as it does right here and now. This talk of how things behave laterally is just another way for people to try and divert and avoid what's being presented and shown to them as part of their reality. I'll use diagrams in a little minute. These, you know, again, I'm going to highlight this for you. if you're a stationary flat earther, your rhetoric is going to be on par and absolutely parallel with that of a globe earther, because you need some woo-woo magic in order for your stationary earth to work. Here's the thing, see if the earth truly was stationary, we would be existing in a realm of absolute and utter chaos. You would have no weight to your body, you would have no directional vector, everything would just be floating, no going anywhere. There wouldn't be any density gradient, there would be no pressure, there would be no upward force, there would be nothing. Total and utter chaos. You would struggle to even move. You would literally have to try and swim through air. But even at that, there's not going to be much pressure. That only happens again when it's connected to something that's in motion. So here's a little thing for you. So everybody knows they've been swimming. I'm going to assume the majority of you have been swimming. So you dive into a 10 metre deep swimming pool and you head towards the bottom of that swimming pool. Right? You feel a pressure. You feel an increase in pressure the further you go down, right? Now, take that swimming pool and hang it 100 feet in the air from 2 cranes. Right? And you dive down to the bottom of that pool and you feel the pressure. See, immediately as soon as that pool's let go, bang! Immediately the pressure goes. There's a massive significance to this, and I'm hearing again from the Oakley Brigade trying to hand-wave dismiss all this stuff. It doesn't matter. Why is it relevant? Because it's relevant because it's key to the globe Earth. It's relevant because you've got flat earthers running about regurgitating stationary earth and relative density disequilibrium. Objects can move themselves and all this gibberish. It's embarrassing. It's a shit show. This is why I spoke openly about joining these groups, because many of these groups are not interested in truth. They're there to corral you and to milk you for your attention and whatever money they can get out your pocket. They're not interested in the truth. They're interested in maintaining what they have in regards to their monetary gain or their little subculture. And the majority of the followers are just content being part of some little subculture. They're the few are belonging to. Oh, I get on with these people are my vibe. The same old fucking boring crap that I walked away from in my early 20s. It's no fucking different. Only it's worse. These people are suffering from Dunning-Kruger. They want to profess that they're invested in truth while regurgitating word salad mantras that don't make any sense and expect that this whole thing's going to progress. It's not going to go anywhere. If you're running about regurgitating stationary earth, you're a moron. You're part of the problem. You're part of the agenda to make all this look as ridiculous as they possibly can. I highly suggest that you stop listening to people and start applying your own discernment to reality and the practicality that it shows you. Ricardo Montalvo says he's trying to talk to me. Let me see. Brian Leake has some questions. Right, let me just set up. So I might as well just start with people asking the questions, and then I'll use the whiteboard for the visual aids for those who struggle. Brian Leake, the invite has been sent. I see they've ramped up the whole alien thing. Remember, I spoke about that. I've been speaking about that for years. No, everybody's to take it seriously. And there's no, it could be the Chinese, it could be this. Their narrative now is, it's fucking aliens. It's definitely aliens. The technology is definitely alien, and it's starting to spread rapidly everywhere. We've got some new guy at the forefront who's been given the clearance, some ex-military guy who's appearing in all the news networks, you know, vying for, you know, lawmakers to press, to have the information declassified and released to the public. So pay attention for it, because they're going to use it. That's the stuff I'm talking about, Nasty Fripples. But again, I have to convey this, because the morons just think that I'm talking about this because it's my position. I'm conveying their storytelling. So just as Nasty Fripples has pointed out, this latest story of a crashed vehicle that's on the police officer's body cam, and the phone calls to the police department saying that there's 10 feet beings coming out of some craft with glowing eyes and all this crap. They need something like that to unite everybody. They need something like that to take everybody's attention. Pico, hello. Brian Book. Let's go on here, view. Admit. That's changed a wee bit. Brian, it's showing me that your microphone's got a little stroke through it. You might need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I didn't want to come in hot, so am I okay?
Yeah, can hear you now.
Okay, you kind of answered a couple of my questions while I was after I sent the link, but since I already had it, you know, I actually might even have a couple solutions. I don't know. I like to think. I like the way you think. I just real quick. Can you give me a minute to break it down real quick so you know?
Of course. Just before you go into that, what was the question that I had already answered? So that
I wanted to ask about the acceleration part, like lateral. But I think you gave me a hint, which kind of answered my own question. I wanted to offer you a solution that I thought of.
It's just that, you know, the lateral motion's a separate entity. It's how things behave perpendicular to the vector that's already there. People keep using that as a way to try and defy a vertical motion. But anyhow, I'll let you continue on.
Yeah, sure. I think I found a possible solution just in the few seconds. Like when you put me underwater, just right then, like opened up my mind to 100 different things. And but anyway, real quick. So like I argued this a long time ago with like Rumpus. I argued with him on one of Blue Marble Science's shows. You probably heard of me, dude. I've been on Nathan's, Ranty's, Brandon's, Geo's, Modern Day Debate. You know,
I recognize the voice and the name.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So yeah, I'm a vet. I consider myself a veteran in this subject. But so over the years, I've considered, like I argued with them when they were saying there was a downward acceleration with the Globers. I was like, dude, and they would use like a helium balloon in a minivan and show that it would go forward. And I remember like years back, I'd say, dude, the balloon goes forward. So if anything, there's upward acceleration. It can't be downward because the balloon goes in the direction of acceleration no matter what we do, you know.
Yeah.
And so I remember having this argument with Rumpus and everything, and then to be honest, I watch I'll skim through a couple of a million people's shows. I just never caught this subject till recently, I seen you and Roxanne discussing it, you know, like a little bit back and forth in videos and little demonstrations and whatnot. And it really piqued my interest because I was like, dude, this is demonstration is king in my book, you know. So it's definitely worth the discussion, man. And any flat earthers who won't even discuss this shit, that's chicken shit to me. But that's my opinion. But anyway, so I see the demonstrations, and you know, if you want to, anybody wants to deny a demonstration without the discussion, then I don't even know. This ain't probably ain't the channel for you. But I like the fact that you do things. But here's my thought. Okay, so I was thinking, you know, what happens when we if we don't accelerate? Because it makes a lot more sense if there's an upward motion. And then I was thinking, well, if it's not accelerating, then the deceleration. Like I was trying to wrap my head around the deceleration, and then the way you described it with like the elevator moving upwards, like okay, that jives. That makes sense if something's decelerating. If it was already moving and it's decelerating, right? So I'm just trying to make sense of this in my head. And then I was thinking also, you know, it could be moving in like some big gradual circle, but that'd complicate the hell out of things. But it's possible if I'm considering all the options.
Well, that's again, you know, people jump immediately to what's going on outside the reference frame, and we don't have access to that, as I've clearly stated on numerous occasions. But from within the reference frame, we can establish what's going on, as far as I'm concerned. But the mechanics of how what's going on outside it, what powers it, what its trajectory is, you know, I've got no answers to any of that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not even saying that this is, you know, what I'm gonna start debating. I'm saying that it makes. I'm just saying I've heard it. It makes logical sense, and then I was just considering every option. And then break it back down. I'm obviously learning from you because you've obviously been through all these scenarios. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so you're kind of saving me a lot of time in my own mind, if you will.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was thinking. So when you put me underwater, that made sense. So I'm thinking, let's just say I have I was able to make sense of it laterally. If I'm underwater and I'm moving at a constant speed. Mm-hmm. With a ground or a floor, you know, under me, if I'm moving laterally, I'm still gonna be pressed against. It's still gonna register as weight. It doesn't have to be an acceleration. Just given a little medium of you know. I think you're right. I don't think there has to be an acceleration, man.
Of course not. Acceleration has to happen in order for us to overcome what's already established. You know, it's again, you know, if we went into a rocket right now and accelerated the rocket until it reached 1,000 miles per hour, and it continued at a constant velocity of 1,000 miles per hour, the floor's going to just continually press against you. This is why, you know, the globe Earth talks about upward thrust being the buoyant force. It talks about how gravity being a constant at the surface of the Earth. You know, they're giving clues to all these things because weight is a constant at the surface of the Earth, right? So something moving at a constant velocity is what sets the conditions. Then within those conditions, laterally, in order to overcome that, you need constant acceleration. So for us to, you know, feel that push towards the back of the vehicle has to continually get faster and faster and faster and faster in order to maintain that vector, right? And that's fine, but that's the conditions of the established reference frame already. Well, not, you know, people are using these as examples which are, you know, wrong examples to be using. Totally wrong.
Right. Yeah, I was just thinking, man. It's like, but come from. Let me just come to you like man to man, okay? So this is like a hell of a shift, right? Because I just was debating for like 6 years, and just got over the fact that there's no motion. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I understand the logic, and that's why I can't just ignore this shit. You feel me?
Yeah. Well, again, if you're part of the crews that you mentioned, you've heard of this relative density disequilibrium. I've heard them stating it, that relative density disequilibrium is the explanation for why we see the movement, the motion of objects up and down, right? This density, you know, motion. But again, it's been demonstrated to them that ceases to be when it's no longer connected to the Earth. Or
yes.
You know, so if that was the case, then in free fall it should still display, you know, denser objects sinking and buoyant objects rising to the surface.
Right, and then, you know, so Bob Nodell kind of showed that to me. I used to argue, yeah, I mean, there might have been a point that you even argued this against Globers that RDD, relative density, you know, explains, but it was always in the back of my mind that, okay, up is definitely different than down, you know, and Bob Nodell showed a video that got me thinking, you know, and I always try to keep an open mind. So I'm saying, like, and I was watching Oakley and them, and they're just like dead set against any ideas we bring, and like violently opposed. And lately, I'm like, that makes me want to look into something even further. I'm just being honest. And then so they're talking about, you know, why does everything go down? And I got to thinking, you know, he's asking his own damn question. That ain't the question. The question is, why do denser things go down?
Yeah.
Because they do. Denser things go down. The question ain't, why does everything go down?
No.
Nobody's arguing that shit. My question is, why do denser things go down? So I took a dive into the electrostatics and shit, and that made sense to me. So I was on the fence. I could still argue RDD with as good as anybody out there, but it was incomplete in my mind.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, this explanation is another route for me, and you know, the demonstration to me is king, so that's why, you know, I joined to hear you out and shit, man. I do appreciate it.
No, no worries. But again, I've never argued relative density disequilibrium. My whole point to globe earthers back in the day was that the directional vector, or the apparent, you know, objects falling towards the earth, has got nothing to do with establishing the shape of the earth. So it's a whole other discussion. You know, this, even when I'm talking about this right now, I'm not arguing for the shape of the earth, although, you know, it would suggest a certain topography to the earth and what it possibly can be. Sorry, I get distracted there. I don't know what's happening. You want me for something?
Sorry?
Are you shouting at me there?
No.
No, sorry, I thought you were at I mean, the density, relative density disequilibrium, obviously it's not present in freefall. So there's a direct correlation to it being connected to the Earth and the relative density disequilibrium motion taking effect. But you know, I don't understand the psychology of the hand wave dismissal. It makes
I know, it is crazy, man. It's fucking crazy. Excuse my language, but it ain't just the fact that it just goes away in free fall.
Yeah.
It's the fact that if you go a certain speed, it comes back.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And if you go in any other direction, there it is, always there. That's why I say demonstration to me is always king. So
Exactly.
even something that I'm like religiously opposed to, I still got to keep an open mind to demonstration, man. I got to give you that much, bro.
Exactly. And again, I always wonder the psychology, you know, that people have left the Ball Earth cult, which was telling you that you were moving in 4 different directions simultaneously at varying speeds, right? Something so preposterous and idiotic, but then you introduce, you know, constant linear motion and people lose their shit as if it's some sort of, you know, elaborate nonsense. And again, it can be demonstrated. I can recreate, you know, in any direction the density gradient. I can recreate a directional vector, and I can determine weight by using motion. So I don't know where else to go as a human being. I don't have access to woo-woo magic. Here's the thing that people really need to be clear on, right? Because whether you're a globe earther or whether you're a stationary earther, when I hold an object and I let that object go, if you're a stationary earther or you're a globe earther, you have to assert that that object is the thing that moves through space, right? Which implies that there's a force at play, because motion can only happen when something pushes something else. That's the mechanics of motion. You need something that causes the motion, a mechanism, which is a push force, right?
Right.
So they need that. So where are they going to go? Well, the globe Earth they invoke mathematical conceptual, you know, notions of how that can happen. The stationary earthers are the exact same. Where are they going to go now? How are they going to, you know, find a mechanism for the object moving by itself through 3-dimensional space towards the Earth? It's absurd. Total and utter absurdity. You know?
Yeah, but you know what's taken over, Dell? It's like True Earth as to me is a good term. Like, Because I mean, just me being perfectly honest, like I'm excited to find out that we don't know what the whole damn world is. You know, you could say it's this, you could say it's that, but nobody got proof of any of that shit, man. And I think a good argument against the globe is your argument, because I don't even have to claim that I'm in motion. But against their claim, they can't have motion like that, because then the globe would be ever expanding. Anybody who gives it 2 seconds of thought realizes that. I just got to say, hold on, if there is a force, then this is the way it's going, not no downward force, because and then show them and explain it. So that's where I'm at now, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I highlighted this a number of years ago, that the globe Earth invokes a pulling force. Now, I showed and demonstrated that there's no such thing as a pulling force. Objects move because they're pushed. The only mechanism we have for motion is something presses upon something else. You cannot invoke... Push and pull are only descriptors of directionality relative to an observer. So if you open a door inwards towards yourself, you would say I pulled the door towards myself. Or if you open it outwardly, you say I pushed it open. These are colloquial terms used to describe motion relative to you, the directionality. But the mechanisms of motion are only push. So the globe Earth right there and then has a massive problem. This is why now they've started to change their rhetoric to saying that gravity pushes things towards the Earth. Because they can no longer maintain the notion of pull, because pull as a mechanism of a force does not exist. It's an impossibility.
Yeah, I think pull is just mathematics to equal out their horse shit. Hey, Dale, I got something pretty important. I got to call in some material for my guys. Can I join you back in 10 minutes, bub? I had a couple other things I wanted to run by you.
Just, no worries. Just send me an email again and I'll set up another hangout. Right?
Roger that.
No worries.
Thank you, man.
We've got JCW that's asking for a link, so I'm just going to do that while I'm here. JCW has been sent. Exactly, boom me. You know, these flat earthers that have mocked gravity are now the very same, because like the globe Earth, when I let that go, both the globe earthers and the flat earthers who are saying it's stationary have to assert that that is a thing that moves towards the Earth. So you're going to need some sort of mechanism for that. You can't just keep saying because it's denser. Because I've shown that motion of density and buoyancy ceases to be when it's not connected to the Earth or some, you know, like a craft, like a balloon or whatever, which I'm going to talk about. You know, because people think that, well, if a plane takes you off the Earth, we just keep hitting it. Because they're absolute morons. No, there's no such thing as pull. Hello.
Hey, Del, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, so...
Right. Sorry, when you go.
This...
Hello?
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I had a little technical challenge for a second there.
Cool.
So, I've been thinking about jumping into this argument for a while, and it finally just recently came to me, like, just how one-sided this argument actually is.
Right.
Because they don't have downward acceleration.
Nope.
And, like, I've always thought about, like, that's just cutting the argument off at the knees.
Yeah.
And then when you confront them with that, then all of a sudden you're hearing these flat earthers resort to the same fallacious reasoning that globe earthers usually do. Like, after you confront a globe earther with the fact that water is always level, now they want to talk about, well, explain southern star rotations and explain how eclipses work.
Yep.
So it's kind of the same comparison. Do you see where I'm going with that? Like they want to say, well, explain how clouds work and explain how explain how terminal velocity works. It's like, no, hold on. You don't have objects accelerating down towards Earth, because if you claim that they're doing that, then you're hand wave dismissing physics.
Exactly. There's no displacement of gas and liquid that would show that there was an acceleration. And again, the density and buoyancy motion vector ceases to be there in free fall. So again, just as I've been saying, they resort to the same tactics of, well, what's happening outside of the Earth then? What's making it move? What's this? The same nonsense.
Yeah, and I mean, they don't even see themselves doing it.
Nope.
I mean, they're just engaging in the exact same, like I said before, fallacious reasoning.
Yep.
They might as well be globe earthers again.
Exactly. Yeah. Just as I was saying earlier, they need to assert the same as a globe earth, that they've got some mystical, magical woo-woo that explains how objects moves towards their stationary Earth. No different than the globe earth requiring gravity. They require the exact same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And they want to hold, they want to use physics when it's to their advantage, like with like Coriolis or the Earth rotation. They definitely want to use physics then, because, hey, we don't detect any sort of Coriolis effect. We don't detect any sort of centrifugal effect, which we would absolutely detect if we were in a rotation.
Yeah.
And the reason you detect acceleration is because acceleration causes displacement. That's why you detect acceleration.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a heavy truck driver and a heavy equipment operator, so I operate big machines that weigh in excess of 50,000 pounds. So I have a intimate understanding that when those machines of that size accelerate or decelerate any sort of way, you get thrown around in there like a toy, because acceleration causes displacement.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not something. This is kind of for like anyone who is listening to this show or in the chat or whatever, and you're thinking of maybe engaging some people on this. That's kind of the realization that I came to, because there's very few people speaking up about this. Just cut them off at the knees.
Exactly.
Do not give them downward acceleration. If they want to just try to whistle past the grave and run with it, then hey, okay, it's not my problem. You're trying to hand wave dismiss physics.
Exactly. So, sorry, Emma, can you throw that cover on? Sorry, mate. Sorry, so the rain's just come on there. I had to cover the bike up.
Yeah, no worries.
No, exactly. I mean, I've said this before. I'm trying to offer people the keys to dismantle the globe earth continually. And I give them that. I'm sure that there's no acceleration downwards, but because they've bought into the propaganda, flat earth movement of stationary earth, they don't know how to escape it, because it's so uncomfortable to them. It's the same psychology as speaking to a globe earther on the street. It's the same cognitive dissonance that takes effect,
Yeah, exactly.
Aye, no, it's good that I'm glad that there's other people who have taken to this and accept reality for what it is, because there's nowhere else to go. I've always said I'm only interested in what reality teaches me. I'm not interested in the words of man. So if a man makes a claim to reality, and then I seek practical reference to establish if that's true, then that's where I go. And it's very, very simple. But if you're invested in some sort of bias, you're going to try and seek ways to evade and avoid this and hand wave dismiss it, which is what we're seeing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
So, any other questions or anything you want to say?
No, I mainly just came in here to kind of say that, just again, like if there is anyone, who's been kind of on the fence about jumping in on this discussion, whether it be, on whatever, any type of forum, whether it's Discord or whatever, just recognize that you have the stronger argument by a long shot.
Yep.
Like it's not even close.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
They literally have to hand wave dismiss physics in order to say, things are moving towards the Earth. So
exactly.
I won't keep you much longer. I know that it sounded like there was other people who wanted to jump in too. So
no, I don't know. I'll have a wee look. Aye. No worries.
Yep. I'll keep on listening in and enjoy the show.
Nice one. Thanks, mate.
Yep.
So again, anybody else that wants to contribute here or ask questions, then by all means you can join right now. Billy Zig, well said. I don't agree that we are moving. No, Billy Zig, the demonstrations seem to suggest otherwise. What do you think's happening, Billy Zig? And the thing about it is, about arguing these things, that again, I'm supported by practical reference. This is not an idea that can be debated. I'm just showing practicality, and the practicality is practicality. There's no bias from me or any of that. It just is what it is. I'm interested, like Billy Zig thinks that it's doesn't agree that we're moving. So I'm always curious, well, what's your reasoning? What do you think's going on? Because if we're no moving, then you believe that this, when I let it go, actually moves itself, accelerates towards the Earth. How are you going to resolve that? Jordan Davies, come on Jordan. An aircraft needs to use lift continually. See, if the Earth was stationary, there would be no upward thrust, right? There would be no upward thrust. Aircraft wouldn't be able to fly. There would be no vector. Objects would have no weight to them if the Earth was stationary. An aircraft is to use thrust and upward lift continually. Ryan Q. Vincent, if it was accelerating, the gas and the liquid would displace. How many times you got to be told this, Ryan? You just heard another man talking about it. Are you that dumb, Ryan? Acceleration or motion of any kind causes displacement, particularly with gas and liquid. So if I let a bottle go with gas and liquid in it and you assert that it accelerates, they should displace, but they don't. And if there was acceleration, the buoyancy and density motion would be there, but it ceases to be. Why are you still repeating this stuff? Ryan, if you keep repeating that and you keep ignoring the facts that have been offered to you, I'm just going to ignore you. I'm going to end up removing you for the chat box because you're not offering anything. You're just blindly ignoring the facts and keeping saying the same things over and over again. The claim is, from globe earthers and flat earthers, that there's an acceleration towards the Earth. Gas and liquid don't show that. This is where you need to use the globe rhetoric. That there's a magic acceleration that makes the gas, the liquid and the bottle all accelerate like a solid uniform object. You've never witnessed that in your life. You never will, because it's nonsense. It only exists in paper. Get a grip, Ryan. I'm simplifying it for you. You claim the object moves towards the Earth. Acceleration. It's no present. It doesn't exist, mate. Jordan, I suggest you shush, Jordan, and you go and comprehend flight dynamics and the physics of flight. Why the wings are created the way they are. Right? Do you think it's just all the engine? Do you think it's just an engine that makes it fly? Is that how daft you are, Jordan? This is embarrassing. This makes me want to turn the chat box off, because I cannot deal with a level of stupid that keeps coming at me in the chat box. You should be ashamed and embarrassed of yourself. Don't open your gums. You're obviously operating from emotional impulse, and you're not using your faculties, you're not reasoning properly, and you're just emotionally, impulsively spewing garbage because you don't like how it makes you feel. That's just tough. Tell me about it. Tell me about it, Flat McFlatface. Tell me about it. It's absolutely incredible. This has been good because this whole flat earth community has just been exposed for how complacent and how lazy and how dumb they're now operating from. Because I'm seeing the majority of people are not discerning for themselves. They're listening to gurus, feeding them these idiotic empty mantras that are just embarrassing. Yes, Jordan Davies, the wings are responsible for giving it the upward thrust, but there has to be something there in the first place, right? The earth is flat. Stationary is the realm of chaos, the jolly man. Really, honestly, it's so embarrassing. So embarrassing. Let me get my whiteboard ready. Screen share. Okay, right. Not going to be. We'll just do this shape just to be for the sake of it. Right, here we go. There's your stationary Earth. We'll not even talk about, why it's stationary, what it's attached to. Is it attached to something? Is it on pillars like this, and then it's on some other, platform, and then what's that platform attached to? Is that on another platform, and then so on, infinite regress, away we go. But anyhow, we've got a stationary Earth, right? So here we go. We've got objects in it. We'll just represent gas, right, like this, and we've got a blob. We've got liquid, right? Because that's how it would be. This is how it would be if it was stationary, right? Because again, objects want to be stationary, right? They resist motion, right? So they want to be stationary. If water and air and objects were in a stationary environment, then they're stationary. They have no direction, right? They don't have a directional vector. It doesn't even have any form. This is what I'm saying to you. These objects, these bits of matter, they don't have a direction. They don't have weight to them. They have nothing. They are in the realm of chaos when it's stationary. Only when it comes into motion, so if we now put this into motion, then the water is going to displace, it's going to come into contact with the earth, and it's going to displace laterally, right, like that, and spread out, right, and then this is how we establish a level, because the water is now displaced. And then all these objects, because of the density of them, are going to move through the medium, because this medium, if this is on motion, everything within it's in motion, right? The water medium's now in motion, but the water medium cannot support rock, right? So the rock goes to the bottom. The rock is where it is, and it moves, and it goes through the medium until it comes into contact with something that can resist it. right, and push upwards upon it, right? Then you've established the reference frame. Now you have the density layers. Now you have a directional vector. And depending on the speed of the reference frame is going to dictate the weight of the mass or the object, whatever you like. Right? And if it keeps going at its constant velocity, none of that's going to change. It's going to continue to press against the liquid and compress it and displace it so that we have a horizontal. And everything else is just going to be pressed against the base of it continually. Without the motion, you don't have any of that. You just have chaos. There's no pressure to your liquid or gas. There's no weight to your objects. There's no directionality to your object. There's no density gradient. There's no weight. There's nothing. So if you've got a stationary Earth, right, then you need to have some mechanism. So what are you going to have? Something from above, right, that causes a downward push. That pushes everything towards the Earth. This is now where you're into globe Earth realms of mystical, invisible, magical woo-woo. So that if I've got a container here with water in it, right, and gas, right, so that when I let that go, you claim that it accelerates towards the Earth, right, but you're claiming that the gas and the liquid in the bottle are all accelerating at the same rate as if it was a solid, like it was a brick, one uniform brick. When you accelerate gas and liquid, they displace towards the direction of acceleration. So if I accelerate it in that direction, the water moves to the back and the air towards the front. Now if I invert that, right, and I put it in motion up the way like that, right, ta-da! The water compresses to the bottom and now we have the gas above, right? And in the mainstream model they talk about, so if I've got liquid, right, and I've got an object in here, right, they talk about how the pressure's equal and blah blah blah, but they don't say that. They tell you that the pressure up the way is greater than in any other direction surrounding that object. It's called the upward thrust or the buoyant effect or force, whatever they want to describe it as. Because again, to comprehend it, in a reference frame where everything's in motion, say at 1,000 miles an hour, that means everything within it's moving at 1,000 miles an hour, right? So as it's moving upwards, there's a downward compression, right, which causes that pressure. Okay, so the object, when it's let go, begins a deceleration, right, because the medium that's underneath it cannot resist it. It can't to a certain extent, so that's why in different mediums you've got a different rate of fall, because the different medium restricts the rate of deceleration. So in air, the rate of deceleration is going to be quicker because the air and the reference frame are all moving upwards at 1,000 miles an hour past your new free-falling object or your object that's no longer supported. So the air rushing up past that at 1,000 miles an hour, right, restricts the speed that it can decelerate at. If you put it in water, water can support it, resist it more, so it slows down its rate of deceleration. Deceleration, not acceleration. It's already in motion. But when it's let go or no longer attached to anything solid in the reference frame, right, it can't be supported underneath it. But the water moving past it slows its rate of deceleration. So you understand this. If you're on a bicycle or anything, right, and you're going at 50 miles an hour and you're in air and you stop pedalling, you know how long it's going to take you to slow down. Your deceleration is a certain rate. Now if you drive into water at the same speed of 50 miles an hour, your deceleration is reduced. Right? The deceleration now is increased, I should say. Or the opposite, and mixing my words up. But you know what I mean. It's the same thing. And if you increase the surface, so say we're in air, and you increase the surface area of something, right? So say we've got a piece of metal that's that size, and we flatten it out, right? Now as you drop the two of these, right, there's enough surface area that the air pushing up on the upwards trajectory can slow down the rate of deceleration. So to you it appears to fall slower than when it's compressed to this sort of size. Because it's got less surface area, so the air moving up past it can no longer support it. Its deceleration is not the same as when you increase the surface area. The deceleration's quicker on this one than it is in this one, because the air moving upwards on this one can resist it more. Your stationary Earth is total and utter bollocks, I'm afraid, and you really need to stop repeating it. I'm not making any sense. That's because you're too dumb to comprehend it, Jordan. I've made perfect sense. Made perfect sense, son. You're just not equipped to comprehend it. This is why I say you should stop talking. You should go away, switch YouTube off, and discern for yourself, go through the practical steps for yourself. And then come back with your practical demonstrations and have a discussion with me. So far, all I see is, here's me with the practical demonstrations, and all you lot are just going, I don't like that, I don't like that, I don't like it, go away, here's some word salad. I'm not saying space is real here, Jordan. Space as in the vacuum. I don't know what's outside the Earth. Nobody does. What's your point? If you're going to come here and say stationary, I can say the same thing to you. For one, the practical demonstrations don't support your stationary Earth. Secondly, I can say, how do you know? Did you get outside it? What's it sitting on? Is it hovering? Where is it hovering? It's absurd. Aye, but me, I would say that you know the fact that we've got that compression downwards and we've got the upward thrust, so we experience the pressure, would say that we're in some sort of containment. What that containment is, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's a dome. No, that's gibberish. It's something far more sophisticated than idiotic stationary Earth dome nonsense. It's far more sophisticated. But I'm telling you that it's in motion. Demonstrations show you that. It's only the zealots that don't want to accept it. Upwards is only relative to us, Jordan. When we say upwards, I'm talking about to us as experiencers. It's upwards relative to your position, right? But who knows, it could be on some sort of ellipse, it could be, I don't know, it could be in some coil, you know, where it's propelled by magnetism. I don't fucking know. It's all you lot that are certain definites. Stationary, it's this and that. Well, it cannot be stationary. What's it attached to? How do the physics of that even work? What practical reference do you have to demonstrate that it's a stationary Earth? None. You don't have anything. You've just heard it repeated to you over and over and over again, and then you come here with your idiotic word salad and repeat it again and again and again. It's no stationary. It's impossible. No, I know with the fizzy water, but I was on the trampoline. I've got some video there. So I had my apparatus and I had a tube into the bottle, and I was blowing bubbles into the bottle while I was bouncing on the trampoline. So I get some interesting footage. Quite interesting. Again, you can see the bubbles all kind of freezing momentarily until I hit the trampoline. And then what you see is, you see an increase in the speed of the bubbles. As I compress on the trampoline and I apply more force than the upward force of the Earth, then it accelerates the bubbles upwards even quicker, because I'm applying an extra speed to that. So if I'm standing and I blow the bubbles have got a rate of ascent, But when I bounce on the trampoline and I apply more force and push myself harder up the way, that downward, compression causes an upward force, which is greater than just standing still. It's very interesting. Again, these idiots that just sit on YouTube and don't do anything practical, they would actually be enthralled and find some interesting things if they actually step out into reality and mess with things in a practical fashion. But if you're sitting listening to Nathan Oakley and these other dipshits who just offer you word salad with no practical reference whatsoever, then you're going to end up like Jordan. It feels like it's not moving. Jordan, you're standing on a ground, you feel your own weight. Water has been displaced until it's a horizontal level. Right? Have you seen water in free fall, Jordan? Huh? It doesn't displace to a horizontal. I'm telling you that for a fact, son. So you better shush. You feel your own weight. You can feel it right now. You have a directional vector that your senses tell you. You know when you're teetering from the perfect plumb. Your senses are telling you it continually. You're stuck on the floor. There's a reason for that, Jordan. It's not because it's stationary. Because see, if the earth was stationary, I could just jump. And only for air resistance would it slow my momentum. But then I would come to a stationary again, up in the middle of the air, and I would just be hovering in mid-air. Oh, what am I going to do now? Swim through the air? Oh, fuck. I better swim back down to the earth again. That's the reality that you're proposing. Stationary earth. If it was stationary and I jumped, I would just keep going up until the air resistance slowed my momentum, until I became back to stationary again. And then I would just stay there. That's the reality of your idiotic stationary earth. The realm of utter lunacy and chaos. No order to it whatsoever. Total chaos. So people talk about these cults, the Freemasons, the satanic cults and these satanic ideas. Stationary earth is one of these idiotic cult notions for lunatics. It would be a realm of total and utter chaos. You've lost the plot, Jordan. You don't comprehend basic physics, son. Let's go back to the whiteboard. Let's go back to the whiteboard, shall we? This will help you, Jordan, hopefully. Right, let me just rub this out. Right. This is a laugh. This is how idiotic their fucking worldview is, right? There we go. Right, we're back to your stationary earth again, right? Now you're a wee man in here. Right, we'll just say you're on the ground, but you need some cause for why you're on the ground. But anyhow, you're on the ground, right? And you jump, right? And you jump up in the air, right? And you're there stationary. Right? You're going to lose your momentum due to the air drag, right? But there wouldn't even be any of that because there wouldn't be any pressure in the first place without the motion. But anyhow, we'll just skip by that, right? And you jump. What do you think, Jordan, it is that makes you go back towards the earth? What in your stationary worldview, what would make you go back to the earth? Because I'm telling you, if it was truly stationary, you would jump, you would lose momentum, and you would go back to stationary again in mid-air. So what would make you go back towards the earth, Jordan? I would like an answer, please. Thank you.
Do you want a tea? Can I take
Yeah.
it back one?
Aye. Sorry, I'll roll you on a wee
No,
second.
it's alright, I'll do it.
So Jordan, we're waiting on your stationary earth. If you jump, what makes you go back to the earth again? Chop chop. Or anybody, there Arwen, there's more of the Oakley crew here. If I jump on a stationary earth, what makes me go back to the earth? My body is heavier than the air, blah blah blah. We're back to this density thing again where there's a motion through the densities. But in free fall, Jordan, that's not present, son. That ceases to be. So there again, you're repeating stuff from the Oakley crew that doesn't make any sense. My body is heavier than the air. What gives you weight? Saying that your body's heavier than the air is not a mechanism of motion. Again, you're embarrassing yourself, you're embarrassing your whole cult movement. Your weight. Somebody else is saying it. I tell you what, see every one of these people that are offering these sort of responses, I suggest that you go and fuck off. Go to your Oakley crews and all these other flat earth debates and these other fucking morons, and you find your little camp that you like the people in, and you stay there and you enjoy your little subculture. Because you keep coming here repeating that, I'm going to laugh at you and I'm going to ridicule you, because that's what you deserve. Jolly man, your weight would cancel within the medium any negation for any acceleration. Word salad. Total word salad. What does that even mean? What does that mean? Jordan or whoever that was, Jolly man, can you offer me some practicality for what your word salad is, so that I can relate to it somehow? This is fucking unbelievable. There's no acting force on the objects because the falling motion cancels out the differential pressure. More word salad. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Cowabunga Joe. Dell. If the objects do accelerate down and the water is accelerating faster than the bottle dragging it down, would they displace? Again, there would be an assertion that there's acceleration at play. So how does this force, how would this force work? This mystical magical force, that it comprehends plastic bottle, it comprehends gas, it comprehends liquid, which are all different states of matter. But this magical force would need to apply varying force to all these different materials in order to accelerate them all at the same rate, like they were a uniform solid. This is the sort of globe earth rhetoric that I was talking about. You've never witnessed any form of acceleration like that in your entire life. You never will, because it only exists as a mathematical concept on paper.
Oh, sorry, I forgot your tea.
It's ludicrous. Again, I'm just going to ignore you unless you've got the cojones to come in here and have an actual discussion with me. You're nothing. You're just an imbecile regurgitating and parroting things that you don't even comprehend. It's fucking unbelievable. That these people make this whole topic an absolute fucking joke. Aye, flat earth ship, exactly. They're just denser mediums moving at faster rates. What? Wow, man. Yeah, exactly, JCW. The earth doesn't appear to move. Well, I can feel my own weight. Something's pushing up on me. I've got a directional vector which my balance systems are tuned to. I can sense that. But in stationary, no vector. Oh, there's no up, there's no down. Same as a globe earth. Again, these people talk about the satanic globe earth, but they're invoking the same gibberish. There's no up, there's no any down. That's what would happen if it was stationary. You would have no vector. You would have no direction. Why is that so difficult for you to comprehend? Aye, Arwen, join. You're quite confident to go and bump your gums on Nathan Oakley's fucking circle jerk. Come in here and have dialogue with me. Oh, and bring your practical references at the same time. Thanks. I'm not interested in religious text. Right? Aye, Jordan, I've lost the plot, mate. That's it. You've established it, right? Carry on. Fuck off now. Bye. Bye. Exactly, Imran. Exactly, mate. Exactly. I mean, before I had done any of these tests, you know, you can go and look at all these people on all these channels constantly saying density and buoyancy, density and buoyancy, density and buoyancy, density and buoyancy, constantly. Density and buoyancy are their own cause of motion in a particular direction. I mean, work that out, right? But that's their claims. Then I come along and I go, well, in free fall, that motion of less dense things going up and more dense things going down, stop. Cease to be. Until they come into contact with the earth again, and then it continues. Cowabunga Joe, what is your fucking point? Are you still looking for some mental gymnastics so that you can try and grasp at an acceleration that causes things to accelerate at the same rate, appearing like they are one uniform solid? You can carry on in Narnia all you like, mate. You're not going to get anywhere here with it. Well, Chris, why does the buoyancy and density vector motion cease to be in freefall until it then is connected to the earth again and then it re-establishes? What would your reasoning be, Chris? Let us hear your fucking wonderful thoughts on the matter. Can't wait. Cannot wait. Again, I can support what I'm saying. I can invert the directional vector in any direction you like. I can re-establish the density layerings in any direction you like. And I can establish weight and increase the weight in any direction you fucking like. Can you? Nope. Nope. So, Chris, why does the motion of density and buoyancy, that vector, cease to be in freefall? This is great. This is fucking wonderful. Because you know why it's wonderful? Because it lets me see where the wheat and the chaff are. And so far, 99.5% are fucking chaff. 99.5% are utter fucking morons. Dunning-Kruger don't have a fucking clue what they're talking about. Right? Because there's an upward thrust, Jordan. The upward thrust is known as the buoyant effect or the buoyant force, which ceases to be in freefall. Things fall down as a result of incoherent electrostatic acceleration. So again, bottle of water with gas and liquid in it, we let it go. Electrostatic fucking other word salad, whatever, right? Grabs the whole thing, grabs all the air and the water in the bottle and moves them all like they're a solid tractor beam Star Wars stuff. Get fucked. Fucking unbelievable. Well, Jolly man, see the thing is you know that's not true, and there's something niggling at you, which is why you constantly come here. All you little fucking zealots, Cowabunga and the Jolly Man and Jordan, it's irritating you, it's eating away at you, and you keep coming back because you're insecure, because you don't know what you're talking about, and it scares you. And you know that you've been dishonest with yourself, and you've bought into things that you don't even comprehend. And your ego's being rattled now. And I'm the one that rattled it. So you keep coming back to me. Because you feel like you need to prove something to yourself. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. If you're happy and content on your stationary, nonsensical fucking chaos realm, away you go. Leave me to it. Jog on. You should be secure in your own knowing of your idiotic notions. Why do you need to come here? Because you're insecure. You don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about. You tell you're wrong. Thanks for the articulated, reasoned response there. Pandemonium, that'd be great. I'm going to do it for much greater heights. I've got plans, but the results are just going to be the same. I've done it enough times now, even in the trampoline, by holding the apparatus and blowing bubbles into it and bouncing on the trampoline. As I lose my momentum and I'm getting to that 0 point again, or equalising with the speed I already had, they freeze, right? And then once I hit the trampoline again, boom, and again, because I'm applying more force to it, they accelerate faster up the way. It's just physics, it's how it works. Exactly, Flat Earth Banner. Exactly, mate. But what we're seeing is like religious people, you know, having a knee-jerk reaction because they don't like it. For some reason, again, I thought these people were truthers. They profess they're truthers, and you know, no religious, but they are religious. But they're professing they're truthers because you can see it in their response. But again, it's more exciting. You know, we're in some sophisticated bit of technology here, and you know, it's being revealed to us. We can see the mechanics of these things. We can comprehend them. We have that ability. What we don't have the ability to comprehend is woo-woo, conceptual, on paper gibberish about invisible fucking magic that makes things appear to be the way these people want it to be. And you've got this religious faction who are running about professing from a biblical point of view that the earth's stationary. It doesn't say anything. I'm not even religious, right? But I've moved in enough circles. I've got Andrew, who's extensively went through his Bible, right? Who outwardly, you know, admits that he's a follower of Jesus Christ and that story and that narrative. But he's a man of physics. He accepts it. And when he reads through his Bible now, he sees that it makes more sense. And nowhere in the Bible does it say stationary. Nowhere. But you've got all these people regurgitating it. Stationary. It says in the Bible it's stationary. Who told you that? Some fucking idiot on YouTube, probably. Oh, it's an electric realm. No, it's an electric realm, so it's a simulation, for fuck's sake. Alright, so the vector that we have, it's all programmed in. It's all programmed. And the programmers have got a special program that makes gas and liquid all accelerate back down to where it was and no displacement occurring. Although in every other example we see displacement, but not in the special pleading one, not the special magic direction. No. The programmer done it. Just because there's electrical parts to the realm doesn't mean to say it's a fucking electronic, digital fucking computer program. Stop watching YouTube, please. What I expect to see now, right, is that all these fuckwits fuck off and the viewing numbers should go down so that I know that they're all getting to fuck. So that I'm only left with the people who actually want progress, who have the ability to discuss, who have the ability to accept practical reality, who have the ability to demonstrate their claims and their findings. Because that's the way it should be. I shouldn't have to be here battling with religious zealots, offering me up nonsensical word salads like globe earth lunatics. Aye. Wait a minute, Brian Leakey. Right, Brian, I'm going to send you the thing again. At least people like Brian and the other one, I mean, at least these people have got the fucking cojones to accept reality and actually enter into the discussion about it. It's not that difficult. Inbox. Oh really? There's Arwen, lying about me and things. Dell really seems infatuated with upward accelerating realm. I don't claim it accelerates, Arwen. I've stated that over and over and over again. Not once have I claimed that it accelerates. That's ridiculous. Total and utter, just as ridiculous as stationary. His chat is filled with gamma fuckwit trolls. They are actually believing him. Arwen's a fucking imbecile. A two-faced, backstabbing, weak-minded, spineless little fucking vermin. Arwen's part of the crew that just bewilders people and cul-de-sacs them into little fucking camps, going round in circles. Flat Earth Debate episode 4,949 million billion gazillion, where we go over and over the same pish, running in fucking circles, while Nathan Oakley mimics me and acts like he's some sort of fucking messiah. He's a fucking moron. Sunpo, he should get back to interviewing people, asking them what their favourite colour is, because that's how he started off in the whole flat earth thing. Came in with all the other fucking imbeciles. And then Jem Panda suggested to him that he mimics me, because look, it's getting an audience. Swear and get agitated and blah blah blah. So Nathan Oakley went from, hi, what's your favourite colour? How did you arrive at flat earth? Where are you from? Do you like Patricia Steere as much as I do? Do you like Mark Sargent? Wee. Let's hold hands and kumbaya. Wee. To all of a sudden, he tries to be a venom-tongued intellect. It just doesn't cut it. He's a fucking empty, spoiled little fucking rich kid that I see right through, which is why he's not got the cojones to come here and sit in front of me. Because he would get fucking bitch slapped left, right and centre and exposed for the fucking fraud that he actually is. It's about time he's paid attention to this whole facade these fucking imbeciles wheeled out to corral people and misrepresent the whole topic and pull it to political post and separate and divide everybody up into camps. That was their fucking game. That's what they've achieved. And now you see the results of it. People are hand-waving practical reality away and regurgitating mantras that these fucking imbeciles offer to them. Eric Dubai, fucking Nathan Oakley, the whole lot of them. They're fucking idiots. Oh, where did you go? Brian, you left. I'll set another one up, hang on. No, good luck with that weighing stuff in freefall. That's how imbecilic they are. They don't realise that in freefall there's no weight to anything. No weight whatsoever. But they can weigh stuff. Where have I heard that before? Oh, the globe earth. I can weigh the moon. I can weigh the whole fucking universe. I know the weight of the sun. Oh, there we go. A bit of a click this time. Hello, Brian.
Hey, sorry about that, man. I had to drop for a second after I was waiting to join. I wasn't getting impatient, but
That's all right.
I'm back, brother. I'm back.
No worries. No worries. So I don't know if you want to just continue where you are, or if you get something else that you want to offer up.
Man, man, I hate to, at the fear of like asking dumb questions. Like, I really don't think I will.
No.
I think any question to ask will be a good question, but
Of course.
like, because like I said, I'm not 100% up to date, but really intrigued by it, and I had the same ideas a long time ago, but I guess I kind of just went with the crowd back then, and dude, for one thing, it quit giving me your videos like out of the blue. It took me a while to realize that I'm not even subscribed to you anymore. I literally had to resubscribe, which kind of, not just you, but a few other people. But so now I'm kind of not up to date with this debate, but I do understand it.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to start from the beginning to tell you my understanding of it.
Cool.
And tell me if I'm wrong. Just interrupt. I'll try and be as right to the point as possible.
No worries.
So, okay, so we're standing on the ground right now.
Yep.
Okay, we ain't even discussing anything except for what we can sense around us right now.
Yep.
We can sense our own weight. If we gain weight, I guess we feel a little heavier, whatever, if we lose weight. So all we can really sense is when we move around and the weight of ourselves, and we could weigh shit, okay?
Yeah.
That's step one. So step two, I can replicate that weight by traveling pretty much in any direction.
Yep.
And then like the thicker the medium, I guess, well, that would kind of be jumping phase a little bit. So I could replicate this feeling that I was in step one. I could replicate it in step two by traveling in any direction.
Yep.
Okay, but if I traveled, but that would be my vertical. Whatever direction that I traveled in would effectively be my vertical.
Yep.
All right. So step three is, because upon first thought I was thinking that I would have to accelerate.
Within this already, established reference frame, and you want to go laterally, then you're going to need constant acceleration to keep that.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think we would with any, as long as we're not in a vacuum, which there's really no such thing as a vacuum.
No.
Then we wouldn't need an acceleration. I don't.
No, within here right now, in any direction you need acceleration. Away from the vertical in order to establish a vector in another direction relative to that established vector, you need acceleration.
So you're under the okay. So you claim pretty much what you witness is that to have the weight, it's got to be an acceleration.
No. I'm talking like I've established my weight's established right now. There's a constant velocity right now because my weight maintains the same, right? But if I now want to say go 90 degrees to what I'm experiencing right now, and I want my feet to be the same, I would need acceleration.
I got you. In other words, we're just adding a vector.
Yeah.
We're not relinquishing the said first vector.
Exactly.
Okay, I see.
Exactly.
That makes good sense. But even still, I would say that if we move up, like if we moved in any direction, that with any medium, okay, as long as there's a ground, and then pretty much it's going to exert a pressure on us.
Of course. Well,
no matter what.
If you look at the parabolic, free falls that they do with the aircraft, right, and you listen to them talking about it, they talk about that when it moves from level flight and it goes on it accelerates upwards, they're increasing the G by 2. So they'll say that it's now 2G you're experiencing. So a lot of people have to lie on the floor of the aircraft because they can't deal with that increased pressure, that increased feeling of their own weight. That makes sense?
So me standing right here in place.
Yeah.
What do you consider that? Like I said, I'm not trying to ask dumb questions, but I'm just you could help me not have to think so much. What do you? How many G's am I experiencing just standing here right now? One.
For talking sake, they're just saying 1G exactly, right?
Fair enough.
So I could take that as a nice round figure and say right now the whole thing's moving at 1,000 mile an hour constant velocity.
Right, that is pretty much how the math works. I mean, the demonstratable math, except for they call it a downward acceleration, which is against every bone in my body, And I'm just trying to think of how to explain this to, because unfortunately, like the flat earthers, like I'm in a couple places like kind of tip of the spear, and it's going to be harder to argue with them.
Yeah.
Than it was with Rumpus. So I'm just trying to get my facts together in order. You know what I'm saying?
If we keep it very, very simple, which is the whole reason why I started with this in the first place, right? Again, getting back to the globe Earth. So if we start with a man standing, holding an object, right, and the man lets the object go. Now, to our perspective, we see that the object and the floor meet. That's correct. Everybody experiences that. That's the established phenomena. When we hold an object and we let it go, the object and the floor meet each other. Right? There's an impact. So the only two options that we have is that the object moves through three-dimensional space towards the Earth, or the Earth is the thing that's moving towards the object. That's the only two things that we have. That's it. There's no other possibility, is there? Unless you can come up with something.
Yeah, that's a solid fact right there. Right. At that point, yeah, right. There's no other option.
So if you're a person who asserts that the object is the thing that moves towards the Earth, you need a force, you need a mechanism for that, you need a cause. You can't just keep saying that the object itself makes itself move or any of this other word salad, right? Now, that again for me is no demonstrable. Objects do not accelerate by themselves, right? That's a fact. I think that.
Yeah, I can't really argue that, man.
No.
I mean, if it wasn't for weight, which is obvious and all around us, and it's something we feel. Like, here's the thing. Like the first couple times I heard people talking about it, I heard them, and I thought back to them saying, "We don't feel motion. We don't feel this, feel that," and I got to thinking, wait a minute. You don't feel your weight,
exactly.
I haven't even had this argument out with anybody. I'm just trying to get it on top of it. And I'm like, dude, if you say we don't feel it at all, then that's like saying you're not feeling your own body weight. You know, so we're feeling something, whatever the fuck it is. We're definitely feeling it. When I do pull-ups, like I used to do 20, I can do like 10 now. So I'm definitely feeling something.
And again, you've got a balance system. If I blindfold you and I knock you off your perfect vertical, you're going to sense that. Again, you experience it. You know you have a directional vector, which is a plumb, and you feel your own weight. So these people that continually saying they don't experience it are talking absolute nonsense. I don't know what they mean. Do they mean that? Well, I don't have a window. Like if I'm on an elevator with a window, I can see some sort of visual reference that I'm moving, or I feel bumps, I feel motion. I mean, I don't know what they actually mean when they say that. They don't experience the motion. Well, as we've just highlighted, you've got a directional vector that your balance system tells you, and you can feel your own body weight. So
yeah, and real quick, man, shout out to Roxanne, because like I said, I quit getting notifications from you, and I just had so much else going on. But she had mentioned and showed a part of a video you made in a car with a stick shift, and I'm like, Dell's still making videos? Like, what the fuck? Why haven't I got any notifications? But before that, she had made a couple good points to even pique my interest. So shout out to her, or else we wouldn't be talking right now. It's good to stay a community around here, because you ain't no telling when you might lose contact. You know, as we grow. You know.
Exactly. It's Rachie you're talking about, but I'm seeing a comment.
Yeah, Rachie. I'm sorry, Rachie.
Well,
Rachie.
There's a comment I'm looking at right now that's caught my attention. You cannot discount air pressure. We know pressure pushes. Right. Well, here again's the thing. The pressure's no there in free fall. So, you know, as I explained earlier, look, if you go into a swimming pool right now, and Brian, I'm saying this to you, but I'm talking to people in general here, just in case you think I'm directing this at you personally. If we go into a swimming pool right now and we dive down, right, we feel an increase in what we call pressure, right? But if that swimming pool was suspended in the air by two cranes, right, that we're holding it there, and we dive down to the bottom of that water and we feel the pressure, immediately when that crane lets the pool go, the pressure that you feel is not going to be present. It's not going to be there. Right?
Now you got me thinking, yeah, that's a good point, but now you got me thinking outside the box, like, because that's really how I always think. So I might ask questions that get on your nerves a little bit. No intention. I just like covering every base, dude. I like where you come from. But what if it's a pressurized vessel to begin with? Like, what if we were at a swimming pool? Well, no, that wouldn't really work, because it'd have to be air pressure on top of the pool. So never mind. I'll scratch that last question.
See, but that's the good thing, because it allows you to ask these questions in your own mind and then see the flaw in it, or resolve it, or it gives you a deeper comprehension. Which is good. Questions like that are good, but see this questions about what's happening outside the reference frame, or these other idiotic questions, I mean, they're just irritating. They've been answered a million times. But it's good when new questions come. I encourage questions continually. That's why I'm here opened up, because I want to engage in the discussion with people, you know?
And I definitely appreciate it too. Man, it just so happens, man, that... I mean, this even lines up with a little series I'm doing on my channel, Flat Earth Test, man. Anybody, quick shameless plug sneaking in. But I'm doing celestial navigation on the flat Earth, and I gave a little sneaky peek hint to because I'm like saving stars for last, and the Globers are like, we just want to see the freaking line the stars up and stuff. I gave a little hint in the very first, my introduction, and I've got two methods. I'm working on the third, and as soon as I'm done with that, I feel like I'm close, but it's kind of my own little method. But the first one was my own method. The second one was not my method, but it's a good method. But it mentions the stars as mathematically infinite, and I gave the equation. It's an azimuthal transform. It doesn't mean that the stars are an infinite distance away. It just means that the mathematics put them at infinity, basically, as cylindrical or even conical is another way to do it. It's just an azimuthal transform, and that made me think. It made me think a couple things. Like, that's how they got stuck in this. The globe got stuck in the religion they're in now. Like, they mathematically placed the stars in a position that would work, and to the point where they're just believing it, and they're almost doing that now with dark matter. Like it started as a placeholder, just basically a mathematical or an error.
That's all.
It's just a number, how far they were off in their mathematics. It's just basically an error, and now they're like trying to sneak that in, like it's freaking real or something, when it just started off as an error. And I think that's how the globe might have started. Like they put the stars infinitely far away to make their model. Which, dude, to be honest, the globe model, it might be easier to model something uniform like that, but that doesn't make it reality. You know what I'm saying?
No, well,
And,
intangible phenomena like the luminaries, as we spoke about extensively, me and Gav here on this, it's taken from the geometry of optics, and that's where they get it. Everything about that is purely based in the realms of mathematics. It's not something that's objective. These things are no tangible objects that can be accessed in 3 dimensions. They're interpretations of visible phenomena. They're in the realms of the geometry of optics, nothing to do with the geometry of 3-dimensional reality. And that's where the whole mathematics of the globe Earth are, active in. It's all conceptual, every single bit of it.
Bro, you got a hell of an accent, but you're a smooth talking for an accent like that, dude. That just got me thinking. I was looking, like the way you just described it is so perfect, because I was just looking at Stellarium last night and locating Polaris to see if it lined up with my north, and it didn't line up with the magnetic declination, blah blah blah. But anyway, if I pointed it at the ground, like slightly down, it told me the stars that it's telling me that are under my feet, right? This program does that. You're probably familiar with it. But I got to thinking, a couple months ago, I made a video of an airplane coming from the horizon, almost, and then going overhead all the way to the other horizon. I was thinking, I wonder if there's a program where I could look down under my feet and see the airplane. Like, bro, it's just mathematics, It doesn't necessarily reflect on reality, man. I agree with that.
I summed it up a long time ago. I think it's on my community page here. Globe Earth science equals conceptual mathematics based on axioms derived from circular reasoning and absurd assumptions. That says it all. That's all it is. It's conceptual mathematics, and they derive axioms based on circular reasoning. Right? That's it.
Yeah, fair enough. So you are in the boat of pretty much what you could demonstrate. So you, if there's an acceleration, then it's upwards and not downwards. Is that your claim? Or are you? Are you claiming that it's just a steady motion?
It's a constant velocity
that gives us weight. Just so I'm clear.
I would postulate that it's constant velocity. And from that constant velocity, we can see the results of what we call the downward pressure and the upward thrust. Again, these things cease to be when they're no longer connected to something that's in motion. So again, density and buoyancy. If I was to let something go from a height, that motion ceases to be. But if somebody was on the path upwards and say a balloon, a hot air balloon, and they captured that on the way past, then immediately the density, buoyancy, motion vector is going to return, because it's new connected to something else that's given it that downward pressure. So the downward pressure caused by the upward motion is what gives you the buoyant upward thrust. That's what can be established from the demonstrations. Again, the demonstrations, the claim was that things are accelerated towards the Earth. Flat earthers were claiming that buoyancy and density were their own cause, which the demonstrations show both of those claims are absurd and wrong. So when we drop an object, it immediately begins a deceleration. If I'm holding, if I'm standing here and I'm holding this lighter, I know you can't see it right now, and I let that object go. If I postulate that the Earth's moving at a constant velocity of 1,000 miles an hour, that means that me and everything within it, including the object I'm holding, are moving at that speed. Now, as soon as I let that object go, that object is no longer being animated. It has nothing to give it the motion, it immediately loses momentum. Because again, inanimate objects want to be stationary, right?
Yeah, right. But I'm trying to get clarity because I could interpret velocity a couple different ways. I mean, if I'm just going by the strict definition, I mean, if you're not going to say speed, then I'm going to think velocity because I'm going to think, naturally I'm going to think acceleration, but that's not necessarily what velocity means. It just basically means the vector itself. So just straight up. Like AB, I don't know if you wish to answer this like this clear, or if it's more complicated. But let's say if we are moving, and if that's why I feel my body weight, and somebody claims it's because of motion, are you under the understanding that it's because we're in motion, or because we're accelerating?
No, it's a constant velocity, because if we were accelerating, your body weight would increase. You would feel your weight increasing continually.
Gotcha. Okay. Right. So it's just a constant motion. So in other words,
sorry, your sound just went there, Brian. Your sound's still gone. Yeah. Brian's got a mic issue. Finishing, I did see your email. I meant to get back to you, mate. I will get back to that. Brian, I don't know if you can still hear me, but your sound's dropped.
Humor, Tom. You got to say this. God's got a sense of humor, because if there's no such thing as magnets, would we even be having a conversation at all? Would anybody ever question anything? It's like, just because there's magnets on Earth, it just gives you something else. It's like a curveball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just
Sorry,
the fact that there's magnetism.
Sorry, Brian, you dropped out there. We've not heard anything for the last couple of minutes there, so I don't know if you were speaking, but something happened with your mic.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was saying that I just wanted to make sure that I understood this correctly, because I've kind of made sense in my head how at first I was thinking it had to be an acceleration, but then I made sense of it in my own head before, when you gave me the example underwater and everything.
Yeah,
and then also you give the example that even if we move laterally, there's still the other vector that we're always having to contend with. To me, that made sense. But
if I overcome this vector right now, as I say, me and you are in a rocket or some sort of vessel that's travelling at 1,000 miles per hour up the way, then the physics is how we experience it here on Earth are going to be the exact same. Exactly the same.
Okay, we got to think about that. Okay, wait. Now, God, that gets you thinking numbers and shit. But without trying to think about the numbers, which I know that as soon as I go to talking to this, they're going to ask me. It'll progress to numbers, which I'll eventually try and tackle. But just before the numbers.
Let me just add, Brian, right? Because the problem that people are having in regards to this acceleration is because they see objects, to them increasing the speed that it goes towards the Earth at, right? But what you have to comprehend is that it's not that if I'm in air, right? So if I have a piece of metal that's a ball, say a ball bearing, right? And I have another identical ball bearing, but that ball bearing I flatten out so that it has a bigger surface area now, right? And I let the two of these things go. Immediately they're going to start decelerating. But the one with the biggest surface area, its deceleration is reduced because the air beneath it pushing upwards on it reduces the rate of deceleration, so it decelerates slower. The more compact aerodynamic piece of material, its deceleration is quicker because the air cannot support it. There's no as big a.
That's a good example, man. Right? That's a very good example, actually.
So it's
I'm just trying to think. So wait. So what if I move upward? If I move upward to try and to try and double my weight, do I have to accelerate upwards? And if not,
Well,
You know-
if me and you stood on a platform right now, right, and that we had the platform moving at a constant velocity, say 100 mile an hour, right, and then we start to accelerate that platform, immediately you're going to start feeling heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. The more that we accelerate that.
yeah, that's kind of a non-argument. What I just said was, I thought it was like a good example, but thinking about it, it doesn't change what the example you just gave kind of covered that.
Yeah. So it's
I mean, I'm just trying to think of like laterally is the easiest way to think about it. And if you just think about instead of trying to think about it in air, just think about a thick medium. You don't have to be accelerating, even if we're in contention with another vector. If you're in a thick medium, like just say syrup, you move any speed at all, and you're gonna feel weight to try and push up against it. You won't have to be accelerating, and you'll also have pressure all the way around you. You know, if the medium's everywhere.
right.
So
That's the example.
I don't know, but I feel like I'm gonna get flack on this one. So I'm just trying to prepare myself, brother.
But just as you say with the different mediums, you can see the different rate of deceleration in that example. So if you're going 50 miles an hour and you take off your foot off the gas, then the air, the resistance is going to slow you. Your rate, it's going to decelerate you at a certain rate. But if you do the same thing and then you drive into water, then you're going to decelerate even quicker because the water.
Oh my God, Eureka! Eureka. In other words, so if I'm in the syrup, yeah, I can move at a constant speed.
Let me-
I'm gonna still feel weight, but it's gonna be It's basically gonna be buoyant. It's gonna be more buoyant at the same damn time, dude. So,
Right,
dude,
so
it's like it's hard to think about because it's so backwards. But oh my God, that makes perfect sense.
Let me just, I'm going to find a little video for you here now. Let me wait a wee second. Let me wait a wee second. I'm going to show you something, right? Videos.
Little we're big
I don't know if you get YouTube on, Brian. I don't know if you'll see this.
on a British summer.
I'll turn it on, but I'm gonna mute while I watch it.
There'll probably be a slight delay, obviously. So, am I screen sharing yet? No, I don't know. Screen share. And this is very interesting. So,
How we can settle the ball back before each set.
right, this little test here shows something very interesting, and he puts markers over the tube. So that again, you see that it's a consistent rate of deceleration. It's not an acceleration where it's getting quicker and quicker. It's a consistent rate of deceleration through this oil. This will be interesting to you, Brian, when you see this.
Hey, resend that link, man. Resend that link, Del.
I will. I'm just going to skip it forward so that he puts the markers on them.
On the video to actually record this, that could be an improvement to this. Some time from here, we'll record the number of seconds. Every time 1 second passes, we'll put another marker on the tube to show the distance travelled in each second.
So there you can see the constant.
Once we've got those markers on,
Right, Brian, I'm going to copy the video URL and I'll send it to you. Where will I see that? I'll send you it in the email.
Okay, sorry, I was just trying not to disrupt. Del, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I've sent you the video in the email.
Awesome. Okay, I think I got a watch of it and everything.
Right, so you comprehend what I'm saying. You know, surface area in the medium, causes a rate of deceleration variable. You know, that's the way.
Right.
That's the way I now look at it.
Let me ask you a question. I seen the timer and I seen him dropping something
Yeah.
in the thick look like maybe syrup or something.
Mm-hmm.
What did it do? Did it like slowly speed up?
No, it stays
slow
the same.
down?
It stays the same speed.
Okay, it stayed the same.
Yep.
Yes. Dude, that's what I thought. Oh my God, that's another eureka right there.
Yeah.
In other words, like with oh my God, dude, I'm sorry to keep acting like this, but in other words, like, so if they want to claim we're accelerating, like, dude, we anything falling hits a speed within however few seconds.
Well,
And then that's it. It doesn't never speed up after that. The reason I'm saying eureka is because I'm putting two and two together on thoughts I've previously had. Like they call it terminal velocity,
aye,
but
terminal velocity to me is true stationary, true zero.
it means the steady velocity.
No, terminal velocity. So an object, when you let it go, remember, an object wants to be stationary, right? That's its nature. So when you let an object go, and we call it falling, and it hits terminal velocity to me is when the object reaches true stationary.
Right, zero. Right,
Zero.
so basic zero. So in other words, when the object stops, that's terminal velocity.
Terminal
It's not
velocity.
accelerating anymore.
Yep.
Not stops. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When it quits accelerating, and it's basically stationary, attached to the medium or the medium attached to the ground.
Yep.
I'll be dipped in shit.
Right.
It makes dude, because I'm keep saying eureka because I'm putting two and two together like I've always had thoughts.
Yeah.
Because when they say things fall at like 9.8 something meters per second, that's fine. We measure that. But then when I think about something falling and I look up terminal velocity, I'm like, hold on, terminal velocity is in just a few seconds, you know?
Right.
How are they calling that an acceleration? In other words, how can I hit a speed? You can't just say air pressure is made me stop accelerating, even if it slowed me down.
Yep.
I don't feel like you could call me
No.
accelerating if I'm not gaining any pressure in any type of vector, or I'm not moving faster. I mean, basically you just speed up until you hit a speed that you just basically just level out.
Exactly.
So that makes perfect sense, Dale. Perfect fucking sense. Anybody listening who might have had them same questions and didn't ask, that makes
Yeah.
perfect
Well,
sense.
terminal, if you look at the meaning of terminal, it's the end of something.
Stationary.
Aye. It's the end point. It's stationary now. It's now reached its true state, which is stationary.
Basically back to 1G. As soon as you are in contact with something solid,
And then once it contacts the Earth again, it starts back to the 1G again. That's when you feel its weight. That's when the weight's back again. Its directional vector's returned.
well, I will say this, Dale, in other people's defense, like I mean, I got a pretty deep thinky brain, if you will, and I believe it does need some explaining. It does need examples. Like it's kind of counterintuitive, just like most other concepts. You know, I mean, it's obvious on its face,
Yep.
but then when you start thinking a little bit deeper, it takes some thought, man. It does take some thought. It also takes understanding. Demonstration is king.
Exactly.
And
if you take an accelerometer up to the top of a building, you're holding it. It's registering a vector. It's registering a weight. It's registered. As soon as you let it go, it goes to zero. An accelerometer registers zero in free fall.
Yeah, the thing that caught me though was the demonstration. That, you know, the pretty much we can recreate RDD in any fucking direction,
Exactly.
any direction at all.
Exactly.
You know what makes down the special direction something, and people like to say It is another argument I've heard, which it didn't sound bad, depending on who said it, but like pressure. When they say the pressure, but what's causing the pressure? Like if we're going to be talking scientific in any way, shape, or form, then we got to be thinking about causes, you know, and what we can demonstrate. And yeah,
Pressure of
I'm
what?
liking
Air.
it. Man.
So now air's got a downward direction. I mean, air itself can cause a vector. I mean, it's the same as Flatzoid saying that an object can cause its own motion. I mean, it's these people are just they're banging their head off a wall because they just have a knee-jerk reaction. They don't want to accept the reality, so they end up saying these ridiculous things. Objects move themselves, and air now creates vectors, and it's total lunacy.
And that's another thing, though. When you had that discussion with him, it got me thinking. Like man, as much as he's as making as good argument as he can, he's still there's something missing. I don't give it. You nailed it earlier. There's anybody who hears this argument, sees the demonstrations, and there ain't something in the back of your mind nagging at you, then you're really maybe not even being honest with yourself. But I do like Flatzoid. I'm not gonna badmouth him and everything, but I do believe he was he when he's saying that when you this is the same thing I used to say. In fact, I invented this fucking argument that nothing's ever moving. You pick it up. You give it energy when you pick it up. But man, that really, I mean, when you think about that, dude, that's fucking horseshit.
Of course, I mean, to say that when I touch an object, I impart some new thing to the object is like science fiction gibberish. When I pick an object up, it doesn't gain anything new. It doesn't lose anything. So that kind of notion of potential energies and all this stuff, it's gibberish. It's just gibberish.
Yeah, but I came up with that, though, when I was arguing with Globers, and they were saying, when they were asking me about things moving and all this stuff, and I would just come up with this. This is years ago, man. Yeah. I was just trying to add my part. At least I think I was, anyway. And I was just saying that, look, nothing's moving. I can walk outside, nothing's moving. And unless I put energy to it. But like I said, it still doesn't change the vector, that there's a vector no matter what. Yeah. No matter what I want to say, everything, there's a damn vector that I can't escape. I can't escape it in my own brain, right?
Exactly. That's because you're honest, Brian. That's the difference. Honest people don't let it rest. It niggles away at you because you've not resolved it. So that's the difference. That's what makes the difference between honest people and zealots. Zealots just stick to their guns and think they've found the answers, regardless of how ludicrous it is, and they keep repeating it. Honest people resolve it and move past it and accept that they made a mistake,
Yeah, I like to hear everything everybody has to say, in all fairness. But I'll say this, though. Like, next time I join in a week or so, man, I'm going to try and gather together the best of everybody's argument about what's going on, like with just pressure, with our RDD, with the electrostatic, and anything else anybody has to offer. I'll present all three of them, and a fourth if I can find one, in a calm demeanor, and we'll compare them. We'll compare them, and we'll present every possibility, and we'll go through it and debunk them one by one, brother.
Good. As I encourage that, Brian, I look forward to it. You bring as much as you can, because the more that's on the table that we can sift through and show people, the better. Again, I don't have a bias. My only bias is to the practical, real world, and that's it.
I say though, and I'm going to bring like I said, demonstration is king. If it's just words, that's kind of meaningless. I mean, of course, I'll bring the talk that goes with it, or the rhetoric, if you will. But any demonstrations I could find to support any argument. So if anybody wants to argue for any particular, side of that, RDD, electrostatic, the pressure alone, the pressure mediation, then I want demonstrations. I'll collect as many as I can. See if anybody has any demonstrations to go along with their arguments, and we'll boil it down to the core.
Good. I look forward to it, Brian. Good.
Awesome, brother, man. I gotta go, man. I'm sorry to cut it short, but I really enjoyed that, man, and thanks for being patient with me, brother.
No, I appreciate it. Cheers for coming on, mate. Cheers. No other requests to join, so it doesn't matter about flat earth. This is just another way people. Flat earth society. It's not going to detract from the practical and what the demonstrations are showing you. You can keep using the propaganda again. I highlighted this, the propaganda. Don't go to the Flat Earth Society, they claim the Earth's moving up. Why do you think that was done? Did you ever go and investigate it? No. So people that just keep coming saying Flat Earth Society, this is not based on because words from some organised group. This is based on solid reasoning, based on practicality, by taking claims that people are making and demonstrating to see if they hold up. And the demonstrations show that none of these claims hold up. The demonstrations are showing you the reality. It's just a matter of whether you're willing to accept it or not. And then you get, you know, gaslighting like this, you know, emotional type manipulation from these religious zealots. You are a letdown, Rachie. Well, why did you have expectations on other people? Why are you not trying to gaslight them and using your narcissistic tendencies to try and emotionally, you know, pull at the heartstrings of somebody because they don't agree with what you want them to believe in? Just more zealotry. Keep it coming. Keep exposing yourselves. And somebody saying, if you don't agree with me, I'm calling you morons. No, it's your content that you're offering. I don't know any of you personally, but I'm going to ridicule the nonsense that you bring me. And I'm going to call it imbecilic. I'm going to call you an imbecile for presenting it. Because a spade's a spade in my world. Thanks, Geo's Truth. I am open. My pineal gland antenna is ready to accept the positive vibes. Thank you. Again, this natural phenomenon. Where do we ever observe any of this in nature? I mean, for people to say that, people don't realise that there's rocks at the bottom of water, that things fall off, buildings are cliffs, and we have this, you know, air, water. I mean, it's everywhere. Density layer is everywhere. It's very much a natural phenomenon. Again, these people obviously don't leave the basement. I've never seen a waterfall. Anyhow, I'm off. Thanks to the guests. I look forward to Brian. This is what I encourage. Again, this is where the honesty is. It's open for people to come in and have a discussion. Bring what you think you found. Let's have a discussion about it. But the zealots are going to remain in the chat box, offering up their religious rhetoric. They're not going to go anywhere. Take it easy, people. See you soon.